One of the most useful UI items in gaming is definitely the compass. Very easy to get lost in a 3D world. So in today's video, we are going to show you guys how to make a compass for your UI. So welcome to the video, everybody. Before we get started, I do have some free assets down in the description below there that I've provided for free. While you're down there, leave a comment. Let me know what game you're working on, or if you're just getting started, what your dream game would be to make. For those new here, my name's Taken Grace. I make Unreal Engine tutorials and videos just like this one. So if you guys want to become a better game dev with me, hit the subscribe button and like the video. It definitely helps out the channel quite a bit here. So let's find our way over to the video here. Alrighty, so let's first put our, let's go to our UI folder here, and we're gonna go into our assets. So we're gonna add in the two items that I provided there. So they will be the compass and the compass mask. Okay, so let's open up Compass UI first, and let's set the compression settings to user interface, which it looks like it is already. And for, where is it? It's always different. Yeah, right here, texture group, we want to be UI. We're gonna hit save. For the mask, we wanna open that up. We wanna make sure that this texture group is set to, oh, where are you? Is it UI and then alpha? Compression settings, alpha, there it is. So compression settings need to be alpha, and the texture group will be UI. So we're gonna hit save, and we're gonna close that. So let's get into the actual compass material here. So we're gonna right click on Compass UI. We're going to create material, and we're just gonna call it, Compass UI matte. Sounds great. We're gonna open that up. Okay. First thing we need to do, click on Compass UI, the material output node, and we need to change this to user interface. And that'll change this to this kind of thing here. Okay. And then we also need to make this translucent so that we can see through it, obviously. Okay. All right. So a couple things we need to do here. So if we plug this straight into Final Color, you'll see that that's not what we want. I made this compass at 1920 by 30. So we just put it in the preview size up here, and that's what it'll look like. A couple things we want to do. If you don't want a white compass, which I'm probably sure is the majority of you, we can do something about that. So first we'll drag out of RGB, and we're going to get a difference, blend difference. Okay. So this is the same as most like image editing softwares where you can get like burn difference, multiply, all that kind of stuff. So it's the exact same one here. We're going to actually flip this to be the base, and then we're going to plug the alpha into the blend. And now when we plug this into Final Color, it should flip this so that the text and the notches there are white. But now we have this annoying background in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag out of the difference. We're going to get a subtract node. And from here, we're going to get a constant 3 vector so that we can choose a color coordinate. Okay. Click on this black square here, and then we're going to select the eyedropper tool, and then just select the gray over here. And that, if I hit OK, and then plug in the subtract node, that should get rid of that, and just literally only have this... the words and the notches there on an alpha track there. So we'll hit save. That looks super good, but we do need to add a couple more things here so that we can actually move the compass when we're moving around with our camera here. UV here, we're going to drag out of there. We're going to get a texture coordinate. So this is going to tell the this material where it needs to be. So I have north at 0, 0. So that is like the absolute center. So what we need to do here is we need to go to, add, and then we'll just plug this into the UV here. Okay, so we need to split up the U and the V, because I can't remember what direction's which, but yeah, one's up and down, the other's left and right. So we need to get an append node here. Is it append math or append vector? That's the one. Append vector. Okay, so this splits the U and the V up so that we can tell it which way we want it to tile, which obviously we want it to horizontally tile so that it endlessly loops between north, south, and blah, blah, blah. All right, so this needs to be 0, so let's drag out a B and then hit 1. That gets a, drag and push 1. That'll just get like a single value, and we're just going to leave that at 0. Okay. The A, we're going to do the same thing, drag out, hit 1, and then I'll get a 1 constant thing here. So this, you can double check that it does loop. You'll see in a second here. So if you hit 0.5, that'll move it all the way to south. So this is literally the end of it, is this little notch right here. Kind of close you get, you can kind of, I don't know what that is. But anyways, when you zoom out, you don't see it. So yeah, so that's where it ends. So it looks like it loops correctly. I also calculated literally every notch is literally 1 degree. So I mathed the crap out of this. So we're going to leave this at 0. But what we want to do is we want to right click and convert to parameter. Okay, this will make this an editable value that we can put in and update. So in this case, we want our direction. We want the direction of that we're looking so that we can update this compass to be accurate based on that. Okay. I just looked at my notes there. I forgot to drag the alpha channel into opacity so that we do get that alpha channel that I was talking about earlier. Okay, so that is all we need to do for this compass material. Next, let's make the widget for the compass. So we will go into our UI widgets folder, user interface, widget blueprint, and we'll do this, and we will call it just compass. Compass. We will open that compass up. Here we are inside our widget. So first thing we'll need to do is add a canvas panel. If you are adding this to like a master HUD widget that you have, you probably won't need a canvas panel. You can just design it in here, just kind of making sure that it's at the top of the screen, but or whatever the case may be. But yeah, if you are doing what I do, which is add it to a HUD class blueprint, where every individual widget is different, where it manages all of my widgets in one place, then I'm going to do a canvas panel here. So yeah, like I said, if you have one widget that has all of your other HUD widgets in it, then you don't have to add a canvas panel necessarily. Okay, anyways, canvas panel, we are going to add it's called a retainer box. A retainer box is really cool. It actually is a little bit more of an optimization thing. It adds some post-processing to our widget, and it actually allows us to add basically materials on top of our widgets. So you can add like flicker effects. You can add, in our case, it's going to be the mask, so that, because the entire, you'll see here, I'll add an image here as well. So we'll add the image, and we'll just call this compass. I'll explain the retainer box a little bit more in a second once we have like a visual here, just so it's a bit easier. Anyways, we're gonna go, we'll go to the retainer box, and we're gonna anchor it to this top center, and we're gonna clear our position, and we are gonna do size 1920 by 30, and then alignment we'll do in the X 0.5, just like that. Okay, now in our image, in our brush, we are going to select our compass material. There's our compass. Okay, so obviously we don't want the entire compass on screen the entire time. That's where this retainer box comes in. Okay, so we need to create a mask, which is honestly super easy, to basically only show a certain portion of this compass. Okay, so let's go to retainer box, and we're gonna go to, let's rename this right now to target. So this texture parameter is the node that we need to update with this specific compass image. And that is the parameter that we're going to be updating. Okay, so we'll do that in a second here. So for here, we're going to just create a new material from this. And let's put it in UI assets. There we go. So we'll just call it compass mask. Oh, I can't do that because the texture's called that. Mask blend, we'll call it. Okay, we're open that guy up there. Okay, so similar thing we got to do here. We got to click on this, go down to user interface, and then we got to change this to translucent. Okay, so those will be the exact same as our compass. Next, we need to drag in our compass mask texture. All right, and then just duplicate this and drag it up here. All right, so what we need to do is I've made all of this. I've tested it all. It all should work great. But if you're making this for yourself, you basically got to create. So if, like, we open this up, the actual texture, like that's all it is. It's just a black box, and then whatever I want to be visible, I've made white because white equals 1 and black equals 0. So we're just gonna tell this the engine what should be visible. Basically, whatever's white should be visible, and whatever's black should not be visible. And I kind of feathered the edges here as well, just so we get that nice little transition out. Okay, so if you're making any sort of mask, you're gonna want to make something like this. Okay, and so I made it the exact same length and width as the compass. So yeah, you kind of want to design them together if you want it to look nice. Okay, so sampler type here should be alpha, which should be default because that's what we set this compression settings as, or the sampler or whatever, at the beginning of the video. All right, so if you want, you can make this a parameter, and you can just call it mask. And then you probably could honestly reuse this as a masking material if you wanted. We're going to right-click this as well and make it a parameter, and we're going to call this target. And it's got to be the exact same as the compass right here. That target's got to be the exact same kind of lettering. Okay, this RGB will go into final color. And don't worry about the material. You can probably honestly clear it if you wanted. So click on that and we'll just clear this material. And that's just the default sampler material. This is going to get overwritten by our compass, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay, this alpha is going to be put into opacity. Okay, and I believe that is it. So we're going to hit save. We're going to go back to our compass. And we should see an effect right away. And we do. So you'll see, I wish we can, there we go. So yeah, you can see that this mask is actually working because of this retainer box. If you don't see a change, just make sure show effects and designers checked on. This is actually relatively fresh because when these retainer boxes were first put in, you had to run it at runtime to see a change. So this is really nice that we can actually see it in the designer now. But anyway, so that's all done. The last thing we need to do, let's just add it and let's just make sure that it looks good in our actual game. So wherever you add your HUD in your game, that is where you're going to go right now. For me, I put, like I said, everything into a HUD class. So if I go to UI and go HUD blueprint class, let's just drag all this over. So this is in my particular game, everything that I'm doing. So I'm going to go and spawn this particular blueprint, pardon me, this particular widget here. So I'll add another one here. So again, this is anywhere, wherever in your game you have this, whether that's in your player controller, if you have it in your player, wherever you're getting your HUD going, or if you're adding it to your master HUD widget, then you can do that now. Okay. So I'm going to create widget. Okay. God, this looks ugly, eh? Ugly. Compass. Okay, I will promote to a variable. Compass, we are going to add to viewports. And we're going to set visibility to not hit testable self-null children. There we go. Okay, so that's going to add it to my screen. However you guys need to do it in your game, that's how you're going to add it to your screen. Okay, so here is the compass at the very top of the screen there. What's going on right now is the result of the last video where we made a day-night cycle and the lights turn on and off based on if it's day or night. So if you guys are interested in that, I put a card up in the corner there for you guys to check out after this video. Okay, anyways, yeah, so the compass looks good. Obviously, it doesn't move around yet because we haven't put that code in. So, anyways, so I just realized, like, honestly, like, I didn't really explain this if you guys didn't know how to do this. So if you're just doing this for the first time and you want to test it out, just go into your player controller and we want to create this widget and then add it to your viewport. You don't need this necessarily, but this basically just creates a variable for it so that you can reference it later. I can pull this out and access any of the variables inside this widget. Okay, but yeah, and then make sure you add it to viewport and just make sure that it's the visibility is set to not hit testable self-null children, because this is checking to see if we should be interacting with it with our cursor. If it is, then you make sure it's visible. If it's not, you just hit not hit testable self-null children, and then it doesn't have to worry about that. So, okay, so that's those are the nodes you need to make it appear on screen. Okay, let's go back to our compass. We're gonna go to our graph, and now we're gonna actually do some things. All right, so first we have our compass here. And we have a retainer box. We're going to do one more thing after this once we get this working. But anyways, out of pre-construct, we want to get a set material. Or sorry, is it just material instance? Material instance? Create dynamic material instance. That's the one I'm looking for. All right, the parent will be the compass UI material, like the basic one we made earlier, not the mask. Okay, we are going to promote this to a variable. Let's call this compass material. Whoops, material. After that, we're going to grab our compass, which is our image, and we're going to set brush from material. Plug that guy in. All right, so that will create our material instance. And now on event tick, this is where we need to update the actual rotation of this. So we're going to grab our compass material, and we are going to set scalar parameter value. So this is where we're going to update that parameter in the material that we made, which is direction. Okay. And for the actual value, we need to get our player character. And if it's a first person, you're going to want to get the player rotation. I mean, you could do this. You can do this for both actually, but we want to get control rotation. It's going to get the control rotation of your camera, which honestly, if it's first person, it should be the same. Okay, so let's split this. We only want the yaw. Okay, so that's all we want. We're just going to plug that in. We're going to hit compile, and this should actually work. So let's hit play. And now anywhere we move. Oh, this is... Oh, you know what we didn't do? Sorry, I did something really dumb. We have to divide this by 360. And now it'll work. Sorry, I forgot that node. Anyways, there we go. Now we're looking... wherever we look, we have the compass rotating and updating in real time. But anyways, so yeah, our compass is working. So we see up here, it rotates with the camera, which is great. But I'm sure it just doesn't look right. You know, it just could be so much better. I'm sure you guys have heard of a game called Fortnite. I mean, this is the one I can remember the first iteration of this particular mechanic, but they added a little directional indicator in terms of numbers underneath the compass. So in a FPS game, you'll see a dude and you're like, oh, he's at 90 or whatever, right? So you can kind of communicate with your teammates a little bit more effectively where stuff is, because like, it's over there, right? You don't want to be that player. Anyways, so we're going to make that number system right now. All right, so to do that, we are going to go back into our compass. We're going to go back into our compass here. We'll stop the recording. Okay, so we need to add a, let's do a border onto the canvas panel. And in the border, we'll add a scale box so that we can scale the text to fit that border. And then we'll add text as well into the scale box. The text, let's just rename to directional numbers. Let's make sure that that's a variable. Okay. And the scale box, we will make sure is centered, and both horizontally and vertically. We will get rid of the padding for now. And then for the border, we're going to anchor it to the top center. So just remember that if you don't anchor it to the top center, you're probably going to get some alignment issues. I'm not sure why that is. Probably something to do with screen sizes and how it draws it and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, size X and Y, I think I'd had like 30 by 20. And then 0.5 right here. Okay, we'll zoom in and then we'll just position Y at, I think about there-ish. So that's all good. Padding, let's actually add maybe like 2 padding on there. And then we're gonna make the content, pardon me, not the, go away color picker. The tint, black. Okay, the text block, let's make it 399, just because that'll be the biggest number in here. That already looks pretty good. For the border, maybe draw as a rounded box. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So we'll do that. That all looks super cool. What we're gonna do now is we're going to go to the graph. We're gonna work out of this control rotation thing. So first we'll grab our directional numbers up here, and then we will set text. Okay, we need to grab this, and somebody in the comments the other video taught me this. If you drag this out and push R, that adds a reroute node, because I was doing period before is the other thing somebody taught me. So yeah, if you guys have knowledge in the that you want to share with me, go down in the comments, let me know. Little shortcuts like that helps me, helps everybody else watching the videos. All right, so out of here, okay, first of all, we want to get this number, but this number is actually a float. Shocking. So it's going to return our direction and then also up to whatever it is, 8 decimal points or whatever it is. Whatever the decimal point is for a float. We don't want that. We just want the whole number. So we're going to convert this to an integer. So we're going to get it's called a trunicate. So that'll convert this in float to a integer. So it's now a whole number. It just rounds it to the next, rounds into 0. Okay, out of here, we're just going to plug this in, and now this will give us a whole number for our directions. We're going to hit compile, and we're going to play. And now you can see that our compass now has a directional number thing on it. So 180 degrees south, north 0. Okay, it's so good. Oh, that's interesting. If you go really slow, you can see it scaling up. Anyways. All right, so yeah, that is the compass. So hopefully you guys found that interesting / informative, and you guys have a nice, cool compass in your game now. Really would appreciate you guys to like the video. That does really help me out a lot. And let me know in the comments what games you're working on. If you liked the video, something you had trouble with, anything you want, basically, in the comments. It's kind of where I can communicate with you guys and find out what's going on there. So... But like I said, there's lots of stuff in Unreal Engine that I can show you guys here, including this video here, that shows you guys how to do the day-night cycle. So I will see you guys over there.